introduce you to my friend Carlin. Carlin Thomas and I go way back to fighting dinosaurs, and which is technically true. We worked on a rock musical called Broken Bride, and I was honored to get to do stage combat with quarter staves and everything else, with pterodactyls involved and everything else. And it was a fun time working together at that time. And as we moved our different ways, we weren't always sure where we were going to get to cross paths again. The thing that really taught me a lot about who Carlin is as a playwright is getting to co-write with Carlin. We got to write a play, and I believe we completed it in the summer of 2018 called RAFT. And I know at least Jeanette saw the play RAFT. For anybody that didn't, that was a play about two people stuck in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on a bouncy castle and just trying to make it through for like an hour and a half. There could be intermissions, there could not be intermissions, depending on how you saw it, and had a lot of fun with the comedy and had a lot of fun with the struggle. And as we went through that, I learned a lot from Carlin about their sense of banter, their sense of references, and also learning about myself along the way about how I can cooperate with one another, what all I could take in, how to trust with lessons with other people. And that turned out, I think, in a way that something to really be proud of. With it, we end up getting a lot of quotes with the different reviews in town. I'll post one in the chat. This is from Arts Knoxville that was nice enough to come and review that day. But we had multiple reviews on that day. Put that in the chat, and you guys are welcome to use the chat along the way, right? But also, Carlin's written more than just Raft, right, for co-writing. Carlin's gone on to get their own career and then some, right? And didn't need me for it. I just had the honor to work with him. And so I'd like to read you guys the bio that we have for Carlin, and then I'd like to just hand it off, if that's okay. Here's Carlin's bio in case you didn't see it in the email. Carlin Thomas penned the Arizona Award-winning play Coming Out for Christmas and has credits across the theatrical process from directing and designing to performing and stage managing. They are also passionate about accessibility in theater and is a professional provider of live audio description and has provided description for touring Broadway productions, WWE live shows, Disney on Ice, Virgin Voyages, Chris Rock, and Dave Chappelle Live, and more. They can also be seen in the studio audience for season 2, episode 1 of Crowd Control on Dropout TV. And of course, we got to have the at here. It's at Carlin Creating. So, it's really an honor here to get to bring back a friend in this way and to get to share it with you guys, who I consider friends as well here. Please give it up for Carlin Thomas.
Thank you, Harrison. I also have to credit Harrison. Prior to us co-writing Raft, most of my writing credits were actually more in typical prose. So Harrison was kind of the catalyst in getting me more involved in playwriting, and it has only taken off since then. So I'm immensely grateful, and it was a wonderful process writing with him. Something we've been wanting to do again. We just haven't found the right idea that both clicked with each of us. Um, so what I want to focus on today is I want to talk about expectations because I think no matter what narrative form you're working in, utilizing, manipulating, and or playing to audience expectations is something that can really take a good story and turn it into a great story. Um, so to start out, I want to say I'd really like for this to be an interactive workshop. So whatever format you prefer to use to write, I recommend having that handy, whether it be pen and paper, whether it be a Word document. It's not something you necessarily have to share in the process, but whatever works for you. I'm going to leave sharing on a voluntary basis. So if anybody wants to share those things, I will invite people to do so. Um, but it'll be hopefully equal parts talking and writing. Uh, I really love hearing what other people bring to the table too, because I think something that's really unique about being a writer is everybody could have the exact same prompt and come out with wildly different results because of our point of view. because of where we're coming from as a human being, because of our experiences, because of the way that we view the world. Um, so just keep in mind that anything we do here is open. It's entirely to spur your creativity on. You can use it later for something else, or you can just use it as an exercise today. No expectations there. Speaking of expectations. Um, so first I'd like to start with just a quick conversation. We were kind of talking about things we had seen and enjoyed in media lately. I'd love if everyone could share something they've seen lately that defied their expectations in one way or another, for better or for worse. So think about it for a second. I'll share mine first while you're thinking of that, um, because I I'm kind of toying because I saw Project Hail Mary for the first time today, but I also saw Hadestown several times this weekend, and both have good examples in opposite directions. I think I'll stick with Hadestown just because it's theater. Um, Hadestown is really unique to me because it sets the expectations from the beginning. It says this is a sad song, it's a tragedy. It keeps you going along the way, it builds up your hopes, and it completely fulfills the expectation that it is a sad story. It's a myth from eons ago that the ending is still the same. But they take that expectation, they fulfill it, and then they turn it around and say just because it's a tragedy doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it, doesn't mean we shouldn't share these stories, and it brings it around to a completely different point. The point isn't necessarily the happy ending or the sad ending, it's about telling the story. And that's something I found really beautiful about it. So, does anybody want to go first on your end?
I'll go. It's ironic that you mentioned Hadestown because what I immediately thought of, I watched a series called, well, it was a one season series called Chaos. I don't know if anybody's seen that. Uh, it's the story of the Greek gods set in modern times, which I love juxtaposition like that, taking a classic story and updating it to today's times. And it had the story of Orpheus and Eurydice and interesting takes on the Greek gods. And I thought stylistically, it was extremely interesting to watch. It wasn't the best as far as, well, for one thing, it was meant to be more than one season and it got canceled, so it didn't end with a nice shiny bow. It was supposed to keep going. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I've thought about that show a lot lately, for the way that it was. It took historical characters, mythological characters, and brought a different take to them, a more accessible take to modern audiences, which is, I guess, what Hadestown does as well.
Excellent. I'd like to also add on that because I think it's a really fun contrast between the two, that they take Orpheus and Eurydice, and slight spoiler, Eurydice is about to leave him in chaos.
Hmm.
And that's where
Yeah.
it turns interesting because the expectation is they're lovers, they're in love, that's their whole story. So that was a fun way of subverting those expectations in my book too.
Hmm.
All right, anybody else have one they want to share?
Yeah, the Odyssey was like
Yes.
we know the story, but the way they present it, it just turns your head around, even though you know what's coming. It
Hmm.
was fun.
Excellent. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
Everything I've heard about it so far has just been phenomenal.
it is.
Excellent. Harrison, you got any you want to share?
As a matter of fact, I do. Here lately, girlfriend and I, we've been watching Hacks. And so that's been a fun comedy that I thought I might be able to predict going into, oh, two comedians working together. And let's look at the whimsy and the drama that comes of it. And, let's see how actors act like they're stand-up comedians and some of that stuff, right? But it's really been nice in the ways that they've been able to work together as a cast, of course, but never minding the dynamics for the surprises. It's been I think real fascinating. I'm thinking of one certain character that I don't want to name directly in case anybody watches it, but the writer finds a date in Las Vegas and has an insane level of chemistry and everything goes just deeply wild as far as like their own bold takes of where just following one's intuition goes. That's the driving force, just where does one's intuition goes. And they make love, and at the end of the night and into the morning, right, she goes and just picks up like breakfast or whatever. She comes back and sees her window is broken and somebody has jumped out, and it was that person. And how does a feeling like that from a day of some insane chemistry then affect the rest of your work and your life? It's made bold, I think, 20-minute choices that really inform their characters that I really like.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that because I've seen it like advertised, but I've just never actually checked it out.
Really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
I'm just one season in. I can't speak to the seasons 2 through 5 yet.
Further than I am.
I
Excellent.
recently I started watching Hacks too, Harrison. I'm on season 3 now, but I'm loving it. So
Don't you spoil
yeah,
nothing.
I won't.
I don't want to know how that voicemail went yet.
My actually, what I was gonna say was Widow's Bay. I don't know if y'all have watched that,
Mm,
but that's not usually my brand. I'm not usually like a horror person, but it's horror comedy, and I think that it's fun to remember how like you can cut tension with comedy, but with the right pacing, because like you've got to you've got to let it build. You can't be too quick with the punchline or whatever it is that you're using. But yeah, that one is like kind of rocked my world because I think I just didn't expect to like it as not the target audience, and it's so excellent. It's so well. It's a credit to like holistic production, like knowing what you're trying to do from the jump, and it just makes it feel so seamless and so easy for me to be the missing piece in what they're doing, you know?
What
that's
was the
awesome.
name of
I'm
that
gonna have to
again?
add that to my list.
What was the name of that again? I'm sorry.
Widow's Bay.
Widow's Bay. It's
Oh
on Apple
yeah,
TV. Yeah.
I've
Scary.
seen that. I watched that. I loved that series. That was great.
It's so good. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
As far as Apple TV is concerned, I have to shout out Pluribus too. That one is
Yeah.
I need to watch.
phenomenal.
I need to
My
watch it.
God. I'm sure we could go on and on, but so I'd like to start with our first little exercise. I want to do kind of a warm up, and we're gonna go pretty simple here. This can be any genre, um, any length. I would say probably go for like a page or so. But what I want you to do is write the most cliche opening for a scene you can think of. Any genre, any number of characters. Let's do 10 minutes sound good. Well, it's about 20 after. We'll pick it back up at 7:30. So take a moment, write the clicheest thing you can think of. And then if you'd like to share, I would love to hear what people have after that. All right, it is 7:30, so go ahead and wrap up any last thoughts you have there. Get to a good stopping point. I'll give us just a minute. I went ahead and did it too, just for funsies. All right, I'm seeing eyeballs, so I'm assuming that means everybody's wrapped up and good to continue. Excellent. So what kind of genre setting did everyone pick? What kind of stereotype were we going for?
A play.
Haha. Do you want to share?
I don't
You don't
want to
have
read
to.
it because it's cliched and too tedious, but it's for teenagers in the coffee shop, test coming up, didn't study, talk about stealing the answers and
Nice.
stuff.
I like it.
Okay.
Barry Sheridan, what are you feeling?
I did what in my head is like the opening for a classic rom-com meet cute situation. So I
Nice.
did a professional businesswoman running down the street in the rain and meeting all the regular chaos, stepping in a puddle.
having the worst day of her life.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Just frazzled.
I love
And
it.
I have, I guess, a scene from the Death of a Salesman type of family drama where everything so momentous and important is discussed and nothing is actually discussed at all.
Nice. Harrison?
I went straight to TV sitcom. I had a theme song. I had the Lawler twins, David Lee and Austin. We all love David Lee and Austin, and a little moral story about bad sportsmanship early on. And there's an Uncle Jason, and had some fun with it. Had some fun with it.
Excellent. My brain just went to it was a dark and stormy night, so I just followed that train of thought and have a writer who is average in build, not particularly handsome, but with a roguishness about him that sparks intrigue, um, who has just inherited his mother's old creepy cabin with a wolf howling in the distance and a storm crashing overhead. So, yeah, going for the weird, spooky, but traditional lonely novelist in an abandoned cabin feel. Uh, so how are we feeling after being forced to write something so achingly cliche?
Loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of sets the expectations aside, and it's just kind of like, all right, we're following the path that's already been laid out for us. Um, so think about the things that you wrote, and if you were an audience member, what would your expectations be for what happens next? And anyone can answer this.
Yeah. I would expect 15 more pages of the same inane dribble
Mm,
of this wife and husband talking to each other about their endless, tedious pain,
mm,
alternating with, did you take the car to the shop? Yes. What time are the Hendersons coming tonight? You know, that kind of thing.
mhm,
And I've seen plays that have written in similar style. No, nobody here, I promise. Uh, but it takes them 15 pages or 20 pages where two could probably have gotten the same idea across, and you haven't wasted 10 minutes of your time.
mhm. Yep, I feel that. Yeah, for mine, I feel like it would be building to something spooky, just building more and more tension that ultimately probably doesn't go as far as it should. You're expecting a bigger payoff and you just don't get it. And also just kind of a self-serving protagonist who is definitely the author's insert. How about you, Harrison?
For mine, I feel like I've got to introduce more characters. If I'm doing a sitcom, there you gotta get the rest of the family or the people they're playing sports against and things like that. And I'm also just because I've got the audience. The first thing I wrote down is filmed in front of a live audience. I feel like I've got to figure out ways to get them incorporated and things like that. But that's kind of more stylistic than direction. But I kind of feel like they go hand in hand if it's doing something of a parody like that. I found myself at times itching to break the cliches early, and I had to be
Mhm.
careful for the sake of this exercise. But I did find myself like, that was fun.
There's a saying that I think appeals or applies to writing as much as it does performing, that it takes a very good singer to be able to sing badly on purpose.
Hmm.
And I think
Mm.
the same goes with writing. So I think there's something to be said for being able to properly write a cliched scene. So pat yourselves on the back for that. Sheridan, did you want to share what you feel your audience expectations are for what happens next?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a meet cute, you gotta meet cute really early. So, I mean, you
Hmm.
can't be frazzled woman in an office for too long before something happens.
Hmm. So keeping all that in mind, I think you know where I'm going with this next thing. Taking those expectations in mind, you are the master here. You are controlling not only what happens with those expectations, but building them up for whatever purpose you choose. Whether that be you take it to the furthest extreme and go so deeply into those expectations that they become something different, or you just do a 180. So think about those expectations. Think about what would really bring what you've already written, something that you're not particularly fond of, because it is a cliche. It's something millions of people have written over and over, and turn it into something that feels more you while keeping those expectations in mind. So for me, I was thinking about mine. I'm like, okay, so some of the things about this trope that I hate, that are the expectation of this genre is, the main character being an author insert who has just the right number of flaws, but still comes off looking great. It's like, what if he just died? What if he died in the first scene? Like, what if he just dies in the stupidest way? And then we see what happens next. Is the story about the person who finds his body? So think about that. And let's talk through a little bit of, well, first of all, I'd love to know what kind of genres y'all typically write, because I feel like that informs kind of where you would go next.
I'm typically
And
comedy.
yeah, yeah, I know this about you and I love it. Jeanette?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess drama
yeah,
with comedy in it.
nice. A little dramedy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't have to have a single genre that you write, obviously, but Sheridan?
Dramedy, but not too deep.
Hmm.
Like my drama doesn't go too far. So yeah. Yeah.
And Barry?
Probably dark comedy and dark drama, uh, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna have us take another 10 minutes to continue on this, and you can continue into the genre you usually write. I would challenge you to see where thwarting those expectations or manipulating them takes you, regardless of genre. You don't have to stick to the stereotypes. Like I said, you can bend them even further to the point where they become a farce of themselves, or you can completely take an about face. Think about what serves the story best and what you would actually enjoy as an audience member. Where can you take this trope, this stereotype, and turn it into something entertaining and intriguing, disgusting even? Who knows? So oh, exactly. It's been exactly 10 minutes. So let's reconvene at 10:10, 10 till, and let's see where we take it. Maybe we'll read some examples. I am fine doing the reading if nobody else wants to, but just putting it out there. Starting the clock now. All right. Welcome, JP.
Hey there,
I'm
so sorry I'm so
Carlin.
late. I'm so
You're
sorry.
good. We knew you'd be in whenever you can get in, and that's fine. We got the rest recorded if you ever want to go back and check it out.
Great, great.
So to catch you up with where we're at and give people time to wrap up if they want to, um, the main thing we are focusing on today is expectations and how to use them to your advantage when crafting narrative. Because there's a lot of things that create expectations in an audience, whether it be one thing we talked about a lot just because it's a topic of conversation in media is taking old stories and mounting them again in
Yeah.
terms of Hades Town, Odyssey,
Mhm.
Chaos, things like that.
Yeah.
But first, we started off with everybody writing the start of a scene as cliche and stereotypical as possible,
Nice.
following whatever trope our hearts desired.
Yeah.
Um, and then we just wrapped up our second portion of that, which is taking those expectations, looking at it from an audience perspective. If we were watching this scene, what we would expect to happen next,
Right.
and then seeing where we would want to take it instead.
Mhm.
So, I would love to hear from people where they decided to take their scenes. I can start it off if needed, but I'd love for somebody else to kick it off if you're feeling like
We, not me.
it.
All right, I'll do it.
Thank you, Harrison.
Hi. It was, I was telling you earlier, I like going into comedy, and I guess where I found myself twisting and squirming a little bit here is, oh, the original take I was doing was a cliche, like, TV sitcom, and I found it going dark pretty quick, which I guess is another thing I like writing. So that's fun. It started off with just kind of a Full House looking parody, and then I was like, okay, no, we'll keep having fun with this. We'll do like Aisha Tyler comes up from Whose Line Is It Anyway, and do the buzzer on some lines, just change some lines a little bit. But then like where I ended up selling on the line, I was like, oh, that's dark. Oh, that's dark. Okay, we're going to stop hitting the buzzer and we're just going to go this direction for a little bit. And now Full House is becoming a madhouse.
I love it. Full of existential dread house.
Yeah, there we go.
Um, uh, I'll share mine next. So I started out with a dark and stormy night type scenario, the typical novelist going to an old cabin that he inherited on a stormy night with wolves howling in the distance and thunder and lightning. Uh, he scans a bunch of like taxidermy on the wall and a spooky Victorian portrait, the whole 9 yards. And then as he's scanning the place with his flashlight, he hears a sinister creak from the hallway and then sees something coming down the hallway, hides, and then it's just this exhausted woman in a nightgown who's looking around and then starts vaguely threatening a raccoon to skin it and eat it if it's snuck into her snack stash again. And so he has wandered into somebody else's cabin by accident, and now they have a problem to solve.
Fun.
Anybody else want to share?
I can talk.
Okay.
The teacher realizes that the tests have been stolen. JP, this is too bad to even summarize for you. He's gonna give everybody in the class an F. But these two boys are poor and they'll lose their scholarships if they're outed or if they have an F. One girl volunteers that she's responsible for the theft, but the teacher doesn't believe it because she's an A student. And then she confesses that she is using her big brother's essays and test answers from this same class that he had a couple of years ago. So the teacher takes responsibility for being a lazy ass and not writing new tests and new assignments. And so he gives everybody some work, makeup work, and everybody gets an A.
I love it.
Okay,
Sheridan Berry, yeah,
I
go
can
for
go
it.
next. Yeah. So my unhappy couple, they realize that it's getting a little stuffy in the house, so they open the windows and there's this mysterious fog creeping around outside, and it turns out that this man and woman are the only living people left on Earth, and he created the wife as a robot to keep him company, and she's powering down. She doesn't have any power left, and the last thing that they see is she's singing to him like a lullaby, like his mother used to.
Wow.
So a very happy ending.
Yeah. I love that twist though, that turn. Sheridan, how we feeling?
Yeah, I didn't write the scene. I was really spent the time brainstorming how I could subvert expectations with
That works
because I
too.
just feel like meet cutes are too much. And I mean, I don't know. So I think maybe because of Widow's Bay, I just had like horror comedy on the brain, and I was like, what if a meet cute is the last thing this woman wants? What if that is a horror story to her to have somebody trying to like win her over? So yeah, I don't know where I would go with it, but that was what I was working on.
That's fun. That's a really fun way to approach it. Um, so yeah, I think um where we all kind of went with it, just because we were also talking about genre, was doing a genre bait and switch. Um, but I really love especially Barry, like the twist that you took that with just the window spurring on that entire different shift is beautiful. Um, like I think that's a good example of kind of inverting what you think the setup and the payoff are going to be. Because also, if we're looking at modern audiences, we've all gotten a lot more pattern recognition in us than audiences of past generations. Like you look at just a lot of the stories that were told in the past. It's hard to tell an original story these days because everything's been done. That doesn't stop us from writing because nobody's done it our way. But to be knowledgeable about the ways that those things have been done and to use them with intention like this is what can often create something really unique and new even to ourselves. So just staying conscious of those things, talking about the Chekhov's gun. We all know Chekhov's gun, but I was recently in a Chekhov piece, The Seagull, that I love because it introduces the gun at the beginning, but it kind of leaves you wondering who's going to use it. And first, it's used to kill a seagull, and then it's used in a false suicide attempt, and then it's used in a successful one, unfortunately. But taking things like that, and then, what if the gun ended up being a squirt gun the whole time? Just even taking one element like that and subverting the expectation can go a long way. Um, there's also the idea of, um, like, I think, Jeanette, yours was kind of almost a reversal of power of like who's telling the story and whose story it's about. It kind of feels like it could go that direction where it starts out one way, but then it's like, okay, what prompted these people to make these choices? Because the choices are getting interesting all of a sudden, even though they started out in a very predictable way. So it leaves you a lot of opportunity to answer those questions. Um, and then there's the question of like, what climax are we building to, or are we building to one that never happens? One example I love is have y'all seen Cabin in the Woods? Okay, I highly recommend
The
it.
movie? Yes.
Cabin in the Woods.
Was it Johnny
Um,
Depp? Was it Johnny Depp?
no, no.
No, okay. I think I saw that.
This one is, let me see who is in it. It was a 2011, um, and it plays off of a lot of classic horror tropes, but the ending completely both subverts and embraces a lot of those tropes in a really fascinating way. And I don't want to spoil it because it's a great experience to watch if you like horror. Um, I'm gonna read Harrison's comment actually because I like it. I like what you're saying about pattern recognition. I've got a movie friend who thinks we've hit a meta era of media where people are so familiar with media that new techniques are emerging specifically because of that. Their example of this new change in movies is everything everywhere all at once. I agree. That is definitely kind of where we're at. Um, but even things that are old stories can still be told in new ways, and that's something really beautiful about it. Just like we were talking about with Hadestown and the Odyssey. Taking not just even technology that we have, because one thing I love about Hadestown is it's not very technologically advanced. There's some elements, but most of it's just gravity, regular old lighting, movement. Um, but we do have, as creators, a bit of a responsibility to understand where we're at with our audiences and what those expectations are and how we can use them. And yeah, I will just make Cabin in the Woods homework for that because it's a very enjoyable watch if you can stomach horror at all. Um, because it's one of the most original takes in the horror genre, I could say, even from 2011, still stands up. It takes the trope of college kids going out to this, cabin on a lake and go and have a fun time. And there's all this spooky stuff in the cabin that they're just kind of ignoring or being too casual about. Somebody reads an incantation in the basement and stuff starts happening. But then there's a certain point where you see behind the curtain that there's so much more going on. And I'm just going to leave it at that because it is a great experience and it speaks for itself well enough that I think just watching it on your own, you will be able to take a lot of inspiration from. Um, so that would be my suggestion there. But um, let's talk through some of the tropes that we feel are tired, but have a lot of that potential. Um, I think one that I'm going to bring up just because Harrison and I were talking about the one we did together was RAFT. We wrote a two-person play, and gender was at the director's discretion. Either character could be either gender. But one thing I think we both liked is that most directors wanted a male and female pairing. Um, but the fun of it is it could go either way. And because you put a man and a woman in an isolated scenario, you expect them to get together. You expect it to turn romantic just because a man and a woman in the same space. That's just the expectation. That's what we've been trained to see. But we took it a step further. They were best friends. They tried kissing, and it turns out it did not work for them. They just decided, like, we probably should have figured this out sooner, but no, it's like kissing your sibling. No. And so that was a fun way to take those expectations that our audience had simply from casting alone and just play with it. Have something fun, and it made it really relatable for people. We had an old lady in one of our workshop audiences. She was probably like, I don't know, late 80s. She was a sweet old thing. And she's like, oh, that reminds me when I kissed my best friend in high school and we decided we were just experimenting. We found out we didn't like ladies, but we tried it anyways. And it was just so relatable. She's like, yeah, we're still best friends to this day. And so you find really surprising moments because I think that's part of just being human is our expectations not going to plan. So, does anyone want to share any ideas of tropes that they love or hate and ways that they would enjoy messing with it?
Uh, the uh, the locked room, right? So like
Mm,
that's one that I think especially for theater audience or for theater, it's one that gets used a lot. And then if it's done well, it's fantastic. It's like Waiting for Godot, you know what I mean? But that very often it just sort of can turn into like an opportunity for people like, well, we can't do anything else, so we might as well explain our life stories and like go like until this problem is sort of resolved of its own accord. So that's always been one that I've always wanted to find an interesting subversion for, but I've never found anything that I thought was especially interesting.
mm. No, that just means you get to write
Right. Yeah, sure. No problem.
it. Yep, I love that. Anybody else have any they want to share?
Well, the rom-com, but I would be disappointed if it didn't turn out the way it's supposed to.
Hmm, that's fair. I actually have an example for you. Once, are you familiar with Once? It was a movie musical turned stage musical. It's beautiful. You can find the movie online probably. It's pretty old. It's been around for a while, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Let me see
Okay.
when that was. Um, let's see. 2006. So not pretty old, but decently. It's been around. Um, and um, I can spoil this a little because it doesn't lessen the impact of the movie. I feel like it's still a beautiful piece, if that's all right. Um, Guy has just been through a breakup with his girlfriend, moved to Ireland to just get it out of his system, to just go make music and try again and try and figure out life. Meets a woman who is freshly out of her marriage, has a kid, but just couldn't make things work with the husband. They meet, they fall in love over music, but in the process of rediscovering themselves and each other through music, they realize they want to give their original relationships a try. So they part ways. And it's a really beautiful story because it takes that expectation of like, oh, they're falling in love over music. This is sweet, boy meets girl. And then they both, it's a bittersweet ending because as the audience, you want them to be with the person you saw them with, but you don't see their relationship with the other person. So they could be going back to the best thing that's for them, but you have to just accept that that's what
Um,
happens and appreciate the
but-
beautiful music they make in the process.
so the movie
So,
LA didn't, they didn't end up together.
yeah.
Is that the name of it, LA? Or
Oh, La La Land.
Yes, La La Land.
Yeah,
They
similar.
didn't end up together.
Hmm. Personally, I like Once better, but but yes, La La Land does the same thing. Um, and so I think it's just proof that those things, even though as an audience that's not what we want, sometimes we can still come to a really meaningful ending despite not getting what we want.
Mhm.
So that's where as a writer we take that responsibility, and even if we don't give them what they want, we give them something either to think about or something to challenge them and say, why do you want this? Do you want that because it's satisfying to you or because it's best for the characters? And it kind of forces you to think about it that way. It's like, okay, it's interesting. It's a fun thing to just sit and think about for a while. Sheridan,
I
did you have a thought?
Yeah, just because we're on this topic, like
Mhm.
what I was struggling with is the fact that it feels so binary and like a will they won't they, that I
Mhm.
was like, what do you do to like not to will they won't they, And but I think that like even from what you're saying, even these other excellent examples of that, it's that like especially in that genre, it's a lot more about the journey. So it's about
Mhm.
like finding the novelty of the actual story and not so much necessarily what your destination is.
Yeah. And I personally love stories like that. Another example I'll use is Next to Normal. Is anyone familiar with that one?
Yeah.
That is my number one favorite musical.
Oh, okay.
It is excellent. Highly recommend. I think there's a pro shot available somewhere streaming. Look it up.
Hmm. What is Pro Shot?
A pro shot is a play or a musical that has been shot professionally with like different angles, not just a flat archival footage. Like it's meant to be a performance done cinematically, but it's also a live performance. Um, yeah, on the PBS YouTube channel, Next to Normal is available there. So I highly recommend looking at that one too. I don't want to spoil it either, but it plays with your expectations as an audience, and plays with what you see and perceive as real, what you see and perceive as a happy ending. Um, and it's beautiful. It is still my number one favorite musical, and I've seen a lot of musicals. It is excellent. And yeah, it's as much as we don't like the idea of unhappy endings in those ways, sometimes they can be so much more impactful and so much more effective in storytelling. And I think as writers, we also have to continually train ourselves out of just giving our characters everything they want. Because also, if you're just an empathetic person, it's easy to say, oh, well, this character's been through a lot. I don't want to put them through more. But sometimes that's more entertaining. That's hard for me sometimes. Sometimes I'll actually take characters that I torture in stories and recreate them in The Sims and just give them a happy ending there. Just give them a boatload of money and a house by the bay. And I'm just like, here, I'm sorry, have a good life here. I'm going to torture you in the book. My bad.
That's funny.
But excellent, excellent. Any other tropes or anything? Barry, did you have any that came to mind?
No, but I was going to mention that the concept of having a happy ending in a particular story or play, um, while it may not be satisfying in that moment, if like you're talking about with once, is that was it what was it
Yep.
yours called? Yeah. Um, it's what happens after. You can extrapolate your own endings as an audience member if you want to imagine that both of these people go back to their original relationships and live happily ever after, and that can be your happy ending, even though it doesn't end at the end of the hour and a half or 2 hours of this particular body of work. For everyone, life goes on past the end, except for my people who die, and it's
Hmm.
apocalypse and everything. Um, but yeah, there's more to it. So if you can set up a uh, the circumstances where they may not fulfill the audience's expectations for that particular encounter or that particular relationship, if they can grow and mature through that relationship and then move on to a better relationship somewhere else or a better circumstance, then the ending may not be quote unquote happy, but the endings for the people may be, moving on may be happier. So I think you can do that if you're a playwright. You can um, put enough in the endings and the characterizations to help the audience sort of think past the ending and see what might happen.
Mhm. And what you're saying just now brought me back to one that is very memorable for a lot of people, primarily for the subversion of the ending, and that is The Mist. How many have seen the movie The Mist or read it?
I've read
The
it.
Stephen King one.
Yes.
Just saw
Uh,
it in black and white like a month ago.
Yeah,
yeah,
I read it. It's great.
it is excellent. And if I remember right, the ending in the movie is the same ending from the book, correct? It's pretty true
Uh,
too. It's been a while since I've read it.
I don't. I mean, we're going to spoil it for anybody. Is it okay to? Is the ending okay? Like in the movie, he he like kills himself, right? And then the army shows up. Isn't that?
Well, let me recap what I remember from the movie, and this is why it's
Yeah.
memorable to me, and tell me if it's what you remember from the book. For those who aren't familiar, The Mist takes place in this American town where suddenly there's this big mist rolling through, and something in the mist is killing everyone. So you have to stay indoors, you have to stay quiet and not attract attention. And by the end, they start realize, like the survivors realize that no one's coming, and so the man takes his family and essentially is about to do a murder suicide with all of them to save them from whatever gory fate the mist would have for them. And right after he's killed everyone but himself, the military show up. And so it is very memorable and very evocative. And I feel like that was the ending in the book, but I can't recall.
I can't speak
It's
to the
probably
book.
been 15. What's that?
Oh, I was just saying I can't speak to the book. The movie, I think, had him attempt to take his life and realized that there was not a bullet remaining for him, and then the military came.
Ah,
I don't know about the book per se.
mhm. Yeah, it's interesting to me because it was controversial for a lot of people too. It upset a lot of people, which to me can be a sign of very effective storytelling. Sometimes people upset people for the sake of upsetting people, and you can draw what you want from that, but ultimately as a writer, you get to decide what you want people to walk away with.
How did
Um,
the military kill the mist or what?
they found some sort of way to fight it off or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Um,
anecdote.
I think that
and
the I
it was
think the book
just,
ends on a happier note, or at least on like a more like sort of
yeah,
a little bit less, a little slightly less like, uh,
okay.
frankly, like a slightly less strong choice,
Yeah,
which I kind of in a way like I think the movie actually sort of like really hits you in a really solid way. I think the book he leaves sort of like going back into the like leaving to go see what else is going to be out there, but like thinks he might die, but you don't really know what happens. I think that's kind of the way it ends. Much more ambiguous, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah. I just specifically remember people's reactions to the movie because of that ending.
Yeah.
Because suddenly
Yeah.
it turns into like, yeah, that's a merciful thing to do. You understand why he's doing it, rather go out on your own terms. And then suddenly, if they had waited 5 minutes more, everyone would have been okay.
Yeah.
And so it turns that perception of what's happening just completely on its head
Yeah.
just by that one change. Any other ones people want to bring up or are thinking of that have done it well or done it badly? I feel like we have just as much to learn from storytellers who have done it well as ones who have done it poorly.
Mhm.
Well, one thing that came to mind when you're talking about audience expectations being subverted, you're talking about musicals, is Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Depending on if you're talking about the musical, the stage musical, or the movie musical, because the stage musical ends with the plant eating, spoiler, eating everyone.
Mhm.
Everyone dies. Seymour, Audrey, everybody. And then they end up being part of the plant, and the plant takes over the world and the theater. And in the movie, they shot that ending where everybody dies to be faithful to the play, and the audiences hated it, so they reshot it where Seymour kills the plant and saves Audrey, and they all live happily ever after. So I've always thought that that was a very interesting way to end the musical.
Mhm. And I personally, I love the original for that because I like my dark endings. But it's a fun way for people to experience the stage one too, who have only seen the movie. So it's fun to even see adaptations where you think you know everything that's coming and they change just one thing like that. And suddenly people have very strong reactions to that. I was at a theater that produced it on a large scale, and a lot of people were very upset. It's like, hey, that's the way it's written. That's it. That's the play. That's the musical. Um, I also want to add on the Little Shop of Horrors theme. There was a production in California. I'm trying to remember exactly where. Um, and one slight change in casting just completely gave it a new um, context for me. Was they cast a trans woman as Audrey, and suddenly for me, her entire character arc makes so much more sense with just that change in casting. And you can take that approach in writing too, whether it be for plays or books or whatever. But you know, in the movie and in the play, Audrey's just a beautiful woman who just has bad taste in men. That's that's her thing. She just can't seem to get a good guy. But suddenly make her a trans woman, and her finding a caring, sweet man who loves her and adores her is so much more impactful. And it suddenly makes so much sense that she was just settling for whatever she could get for anyone that found her attractive. And so small little changes like that can subvert expectations, can add more meaning to characters, to decisions as a writer that you make. So it's not even just audience expectations, it's adding context. You can change tiny little things on very well-known stories, and suddenly it's an entirely new story. Um, so I would love if anyone has any current projects they're working on that this has given them any ideas for, or if there's somewhere in there where you're already using some of these subversions that you want to share.
I think that's a hard thing about writing anything is
Mm-hmm.
you make this next step and you go like, wait, that's a cliche. That's what's expected. And go back 2 steps and go like, how do I make this unexpected? I mean, you can do that 1,000 times in one piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a constant challenge with ourselves to realize, are we writing this because it feels like just what always happens in this, or
Right,
because it was what it should happen?
right.
Well,
I'm working on a
yeah.
piece right now that's, I'm sorry, Jeanette, were you?
I'm through.
Oh, okay. I'm working on a piece right now that's based on um, a very old, like 17th century play called well, it takes its themes from the play called The Emperor of the Moon, which is based on a really, really old, like, commedia dell'arte
Mm-hmm.
of like improvisation. Um, and that's been fun, but also really frustrating trying to, because the play itself is just this kind of little fluffy little nothing of a play. But the I found the characters and the interact, like the sort of the archetypal characters that are interacting, they do it in a sort of an interesting way and under an interesting premise. So I've been adapting that to see what comes of it, but it's not been an easy process at all. But like trying to take these very archetypal things and turn them into something that is not using the archetypes, but the archetypal interactions, I guess. So like removing the characters themselves, but like the way that they interact. Um, that doesn't make any sense the way I'm saying it. I can hear it coming out of my mouth, but nonetheless, that is kind of what I've been trying to do, and that's been fun, but also really, really, really challenging to like take something that's very stock, and try to infuse it with a different kind of flavor while still sort of being like, and this is that character, right? Like this is still that. These are still those kinds of people. So that's been that's been fun and hard, and I'm not very far into it at all.
Excellent. I'll share because the one that was mentioned in my bio, coming out for Christmas, is a. It was kind of written as a response to She Kills Monsters because I have a lot of opinions on She Kills Monsters, um, and I wanted to do better. So I was like, okay, I can't complain about this if I'm not going to write something better myself, or if I can't. But I decided to write something utilizing every young adult trope I could think of, from everything from Hunger Games to Divergent to that whole wave of young adult genre things that came out. And the way that I used it was a teenager trying to come out to her lesbian parents using a story that she'd written with herself as the protagonist. Because a lot of young authors will put themselves as the Mary Sue, to use the term, but also playing with the idea of like, okay, if your parents are lesbians, what does coming out look like? Like, do you have to come out as straight if you're straight? Because the expectations are very different. Or are they? It's a lot of question of expectations, and it was a really fun one to play with, especially because in her story she had the love triangle, but it was, there was the vampire girl, and then there was the werewolf boy. It's like, oh no, which one does she end up with? And it actually ended up being that she ended up with neither and both, because she was asexual, not really interested past general romance, and polyamorous. So playing with the traditional expectations of, oh, there's a love triangle, they're going to end up with one of them, and all of that. So it was really fun to use those as tools rather than avoid them, is leaning into them harder and then seeing what I actually wanted to do with them. So that's partially why I wanted to start today with writing those actual stereotypes, because stereotypes can actually be a useful tool. I feel like it's ingrained in us pretty early on, even in schooling, to avoid stereotypes and to avoid those things. But I think it's like anything else, it's a rule that's made to be broken once you understand why it's a rule. Like, you don't want to lean on stereotypes as a lazy tactic and just write what's been written, but finding those tropes and those stereotypes and those recurring themes in fiction and using them in a new way can really, really make for a fun experience for your audience, especially using anything familiar, using an existing story from history and adding your own twist to it. Using things that people are already familiar with gives you a leg to stand on. That's why we have a billion Robin Hood stories and a billion Peter Pan stories, is because there's something in them, even though we already know a lot about them. Everybody brings something a little different to it. So I would love to do another writing exercise. And for this one, let's just start fresh. Think about, and at first I was going to have you guys bring something that you've already been working on, but I kind of like just us going open here and you take it home and do whatever you want with it. So take the ideas that we've been working on, start with something expected, and then we'll pause. And then, okay, let me actually pose the question. Sorry, I'm kind of freeballing here. Would you all be open to sharing these with each other and then everybody adding what they think could be a fun twist on it?
Yeah,
If we,
sure.
yeah,
Sorry, to clarify, sharing
yes,
something that we're about to write with each other?
yes.
Okay.
Because I want you to know going in while writing it instead of writing it without the intention of sharing it and then being like, oh, share with the class now.
Gotcha.
So we want to play with audience expectations, not yours.
So write a cliched scene first, and then we
Mhm.
will share and write a non-cliched ending to the scene or continuation.
Yes,
Okay.
share and brainstorm because I think we can get some really cool ideas from each other too. So let's do another 10 minutes. That'll be at, I believe it'll be 8:36 y'all's time. Actually, let's make it 15. a little longer this time, since we kind of have more of a grasp on it. So write something cliche, write something that has a stereotype that you feel like has a lot of potential for something, but just stick to the stereotype for now. So let's just say that it's 8:30 now. We'll come back at quarter till and have fun with it. Lean into it. Be shameless about it. All right, looks like we are at our quarter till mark. Barry, I love your comment. I'm very excited to see what is so bad about this one. Um, I'm happy to share the trope I went for because I was talking about my young adult one. I decided to go for a very stereotypical kid is at school. Her crush walks by. She gets flustered. Oh no, she's an awkward girl. And then something weird happens. Uh, I'm happy to go reading mine first, but if anybody else wants to start, I want to open that up.
You go.
All right. I will do, actually, let me, yeah, I'll just read it. So, scene one, school hall. Kay walks down the hallway at her high school, dodging paper airplanes, couples making out sloppily by the lockers, and jocks passing footballs overhead. She's dressed in flannel, pseudo-skater style, mostly trying to be invisible. As a voiceover. High school is going to be the death of me. If I don't get taken out by a football to the head, I think I'll die of boredom alone. A brilliantly handsome skater guy, Jesse, tosses his hair and walks toward Kay, skateboard hung over his shoulder with a casual swagger. He gives Kay a half smile. Hey. Kay freezes, stammers. Hi, howdy, Jesse James, Jesse Bobessi. Voiceover. Or maybe I'll just die of embarrassment. Honestly, that's more likely. Kill me now. Jesse gives her an awkward chuckle, then finger guns. Cool. See you later, I guess. As Jessie walks away, Kay turns to the lockers and starts banging her head against one with a pathetic groan. Her friend Georgia joins her, watching Jessie leave. Bombed again? Kay, not just bombed. Nuclear disaster. Chernobyl has nothing on me. Can you just put me out of my misery? Georgia, sorry, Kay. I'd be breaking our best friend blood pact. Kay, we never did a blood pact. Georgia, not that you remember. Don't worry, you still have your soul. Okay. Why do I always say the stupidest stuff when he's around? Ugh, I should just go mute. Then I can't embarrass myself anymore. Georgia, Kay, I love you, but you definitely still find a way. Kay, I'm going to die alone. Georgia, not on my watch. Bonnie and Clyde, baby. We're going out in a blaze of glory. You promised. Kay, I didn't know such thing. Georgia, you will. They laugh and Kay shoves Georgia playfully. Kay, stop, weirdo. I know you are, but what am I? My bestie forever. Georgia, got that right. Bell rings and the students disappear en masse to their classes. Okay, see you at lunch? Georgia, you know it. And try not to lose your head if you see Jesse again. Okay, you know I can't promise anything. He's just so... Georgia, I know, babe. They hug and Georgia trots off to her class. Kay grabs a book from her locker and slams it shut, but as soon as she turns around, she runs into another student, Bess, who's in a hurry. Bess drops her satchel and stumbles to the ground. Kay, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize you were there. Bess, I don't have time for this. Okay, I said I'm sorry. Here, let me help you. Bess, I don't need help. Thanks, but no thanks. Okay, I'm just trying to be nice. Bess, I didn't ask you to. Bess hurriedly scoops her belongings back into her bag and rushes off, not realizing she's left something behind. Kay picks up a strange stone pendant and folds it up. It glows ominously, pulsing in her hands. Kay, what the hell? Hey, you forgot this thing. She shouts after Bess, but she's already gone. Kay inspects the pendant closer, thumbing over it. Suddenly, the lights overhead flicker and surge. One of the bulbs explodes, and Kay jumps, backing herself against the lockers as she clutches the strange stone. Kay, what the hell is going on? Mr. Starsky pokes his head out of a classroom nearby, looks up at the busted light, then down at Kay. Kay, I didn't do anything. It just broke, I swear. Mr. Starsky, likely story. Detention for destruction of property, and you're late. Get in here. Kay, I'm coming. Mr. Starsky retreats into the classroom, but Kay lingers in the hall for a moment, looking at the strange pendant. Kay, what are you? After a moment, she puts it around her neck and slips into the classroom. And that's the end of that scene. So I'd like to start with any thoughts on what could make that subvert the expectations that have been set forth. or if we want to start just by talking about the expectations. What, based on your knowledge of narrative and typical things in this genre, would happen next?
So she would receive the pendant, and it would unlock latent potential in her, that would show her the magic feather situation, right? Like it goes on to show her that actually all along the power was inside of her. That's always a good one. Yeah, that's my first thought.
Mhm. She's the chosen one.
Oh, sure, yeah, always the chosen one. Yeah,
And she
definitely.
could always go, yeah, the chosen one route, or she could go the carry route. So there's a
Mm,
couple of different pathways.
that's a good take. That could be a fun way. What does everybody else think? What would you be expecting if you walked into a play that started this way?
Well, she can experiment and figure out that she can use this power for good or evil.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And we would expect her to use them for good.
Right. But Carrie,
Hmm. It could be fun to have a character start out the innocent little school
Mhm.
child and then get power
Mhm.
hungry and go a little too
Well,
far.
they don't even start out innocent. They just literally, the minute they realize that they've got like, a mystical, power to do whatever they want, they just immediately start doing terrible things. Like immediately, like they're just like, oh, I can do this.
They
Destroy
start
that person. Sweet.
Hmm.
they start wishing people into the cornfield.
Yeah, exactly. Like right away.
Hmm.
Just
Or it
immediately.
Oh,
could be
Becky bullied me. She's dead now.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
could be physical, and she grows boobs and becomes the prom queen,
Oh yeah.
very visible, popular.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like no side effects whatsoever. Like there's no
No.
like there's no downside to it at all. It's just like
Just lean
the
into it. She
whole
becomes everything she ever wanted to.
She's
No
a very
downsides.
well-adjusted young woman and is able to take her newfound apocalyptic powers in stride.
Hmm.
hopefully so.
She becomes president.
Yeah, or just cuts to like her like 20 years later, and she's like, and that's how I became president.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty easy actually. I just wanted to. So now
Or
I am.
Hmm.
or Becky comes back for the stone and they have to fight over it.
100%. Yeah. Or
Excellent.
Becky doesn't come back for the stone, and she actually wanted her to have it so that she could like have some other kind of power over her, because Becky's now the only person
Mm.
who can like control the person who has the stone. So
Oh,
Becky's the actual ultimate puppet master. Perfect.
that could be fun. Excellent. What other expectations could we subvert here? My brain goes to Georgia, the best friend. What if it comes out that she was pulling the strings the whole time? She seems like
Right.
just the innocent bystander.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could start out on the whole Dumbo route and then like just have her think that it's going to give her that sort of latent power, and that she doesn't actually have some of these, like, she's like kind of like, I believe I can, and I've got this thing, and that's going to help me do it, and then it just doesn't help at all, and she still like has to write the essay, and it still sucks. Like it doesn't. She can't fly yet because she hasn't actually practiced doing the thing that you need to be able to like do all the things you want to do in your life. It's kind of like AI, right? You could do it as a
Mm.
metaphor for AI.
Yep. Or better yet, it literally was just a faulty light.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a piece of junk. Like
Yeah,
it's
it
nothing.
was just a light that busted. It just
Yeah,
happened to happen at that exact moment.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm. Excellent. Any last thoughts before we move on?
I just liked that division of whether or not that they'd be good or bad with it. That was interesting to me with it.
I couldn't quite hear that. Sorry, Harrison.
I was just saying I like the division of wondering if they were going to be good or bad with the power on that.
Mm, yep. Well, because we all know the expectation. We all know either she goes too far and comes back and realizes that, friendship was magic all along, or, just tries to be good and be a hero and happily ever after. Um, Excellent. So who would like to go next? would be happy to do the reading for you if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, or if you want to do it yourself, you're more than welcome.
I'll go.
Sweet.
Town hall midday. Mayor, come on now, everyone, settle down. Please, everyone, please, let's all just Clyde, settle down? How are we supposed to settle down, Mayor? A general clamor of agreement from everyone. Berta, are we just going to let him get away with it? Mayor, that's not what I'm suggesting. Dan, well, what are you suggesting? Mayor, well, Clyde, he doesn't have a clue. Mayor, I'm sure that our illustrious chief of police, the crowd clamors its disapproval. Berta, the chief of police is the one that let him get away. Mayor, now let's be gracious. That's not his fault. Clyde, Berta, I am being gracious. If I wasn't being gracious, I'd be half tempted to say that the chief was in on it. Chief O'Malley, very Irishly. Now you listen here, you ne'er do well little muckrick and so. Come over here and say that to my face. Clyde, what would you do about it if I did? He's been 3 sheets to the wind since yesterday afternoon. Mayor, now, please, people, please. We have to keep our heads. Casting blame isn't going to get us anywhere. Dan, says the man who invited that slimy, no good, mustache twirling, top hat wearing snake oil salesman here in the first place. Mayor, that's beside the point. Berta, it seems like there's a lot that's beside the point when it comes to the matter of who's to blame for this mess. Clyde, and I think we're looking at the 2 biggest culprits right now. There's a huge guffaw as the crowd turns on the mayor and Chief O'Malley. Chief O'Malley, get behind me, Mayor! Come on then, you feckless knobs! The crowd surges forward. Just as the first of them approach the stage, Paul and Anna, ages 12 and 13, rush in from the back of the room. Anna, everyone, listen up! No effect. Anna, everyone, it's no use, Paul. No one's listening to us. Paul, what are we going to do? Anna, wait, your trumpet! Paul, producing a trumpet and holds it aloft. Of course, why didn't I think of that? Anna, well, go on, hurry. Paul plays a rousing military theme and the mob turns to him. Mayor, kids, what are you doing here? Anna, we've got this one, Dad. Everyone, you have to listen to us. Paul, I know that sleazy Dot Burphart stole the money from the town treasury and the security deposits from the Friendly Field Bank and Trust and all the money from the donation boxes from all the churches, but we think we have a plan on how to get the money back, Anna, and maybe even how to save the town. End of scene. That's as far as I got anyway.
I love it. Oh man. So much to play with there. First thoughts, anybody? What are our expectations based on that scene?
That the kids find the way to get the money back.
Mm-hmm.
And the crook, I forgot his name, that he'll be in jail.
Mm-hmm. The snake oil salesman.
Yes.
I expect more things to be done, quote, very Irishly.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That descriptor is just...
I wasn't ready for that.
Community comes together. So what could we see that would be next in this that would subvert those expectations or use them in a way that surprises the audience? Maybe the kids were behind it all along.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Little jerks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very good.
There was a little bit of a backstory. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut some off?
Good.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to. I was just saying, since there's a bit of a backstory drop going on towards the end of that, a lot of times that's just color text as we move forward. You could play with that being more and more relevant. It's like, oh, you should have been paying attention when I was telling you what was happening. But then just build into it.
Yeah, the opening could have nothing to do with the rest of the play at all. Like, literally, like, it could just like literally pick up with him like solving the issue in the first 2 seconds, and then it turns into like an entire like whatever it is, like just something else entirely.
My brain was wondering if there was so much description paid to the top-hatted, mustachioed. If the guy walks in and he's just a normal guy,
Yeah,
they're all just like, it's him.
Yeah, just someone from the IRS, it's just
It's like
like some kind
I've
of
literally
functionary.
just teared.
Like, I'm just here for the census. I don't know what the problem is.
But there's a trumpet. They could form a band.
Mhm.
I love that.
Could have a
You have
Music
to
Man
admit, like
moment.
honestly, my first thought was that they were going to play it, like that they were going to do a show. Like when I first started writing it, that was actually my first. It just sort of morphed away from that. But like my first thought was the trope of like we're going to do a show to save the town. Like that whole trope. That was absolutely where I was starting with. But then all of a sudden the cop got involved. So
Pesky cops.
yeah.
Any other thoughts or ideas from that? Awesome. Anybody else want to share? Barry, I see a nod.
Can unmute there. Okay. This is the Brady Bunchiest of Brady Bunch episodes. Dad is in the living room reading his paper. Preteen Tommy comes in the front door, dejected, and crosses the living room. Dad, hello, son. Are you okay? Tommy, yeah, I think so. It's been a tough day today. Dad, why? What happened? Tommy, my girlfriend broke up with me right out of the blue. I have no idea why. Dad, hey, I'm sorry to hear that. What did she say to you? Tommy, just that she was tired of being around me and wanted to try something different. Dad, that's rough. How do you feel about that? Tommy, I don't know how to feel. I really thought we had something special going. Dad, well, I wouldn't dwell on it too much. You're young. Some things just aren't meant to be. There's lots of other girls at your school, right? Have you had your eye on one of them? Tommy, what? No, I just liked her. She was amazing. We both love the same things. We're in a bunch of classes together. She taught me how to play the guitar, remember? Dad, I do. You really picked it up. I heard you playing the other day. Tommy, I don't know how I can go on without her. Dad, so think of it like this. Remember when you tried out for the school baseball team a couple years ago? Really thought you were going to make the squad? Tommy, yeah, I had my hopes up really high. Dad, and then when you didn't make it, did you quit? Did you just mope around the house for weeks? No, you got right out in the backyard and practiced and practiced and practiced. And you tried again next year. And what happened? Tommy, I made the team. Dad, you made the team. So don't see this as a failure and don't blame the young lady. You're both going through a lot of changes. So take some time, gather yourself, and find someone else you like. I'll bet you'll catch some cute girl's eye in no time. Tommy, wow, thanks, Dad. Uh, Say, can I ask you something about girls? Dad, um, Tommy, Dad, when I'm around girls, I get these weird feelings. Dad, what kind of feelings, son? Tommy, these kind of tingles, It's really weird, all over my body. What's that about? Dad, well, son, it's like this. Tommy, did you ever feel this with mom? Dad, sure, son. I mean, it's a little different with adults. Tommy, you mean your tingle is different than mine? Dad, I mean, everybody's tingle is different. Tommy, do girls feel the same way? Dad, I think you should go ask your mom about that. Tommy, really? Dad, wait, no, don't go ask your mom. That's not a good idea. Tommy, girls are sure weird. Dad, you have no idea. Tommy, yeah, it seems like every time a girl comes in the room, I get these weird feelings and sensations. Tommy's teenage sister, Kathy, enters. Kathy, hey guys, what's up? Tommy, I gotta go. Dad, what's the matter, son? Tommy runs upstairs. Kathy, did I say something wrong? Dad, no, just bad timing, sweetheart. Kathy, Dad, can I talk to you for a second? Dad, oh no, not again. The end.
Nice.
Nice. Very, very classic sitcom. The wholesome TV dad. So much to be done with that. What's everybody's first thoughts on expectations from that? Where do you expect it to go next?
Tommy learns a lesson, and um, turns out that he's okay and he's going to be fine. And then we go on to next week.
Or they get back together again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't, he has another nice dad talk. And they end up feeling better about it and ready to get back at him.
Right.
Go get him, champ. Now, what are some fun ways for subverting that? My brain
Tommy's
at
a
one
small.
point just went like, we haven't seen mom. What if mom just walks in and she's just a grizzly bear? Just no explanation. Everything else is a normal sitcom. Mother is just a grizzly bear like rooting around the kitchen, and nobody ever thinks it's weird.
It's just Mama Bear, and that's the
Mhm.
whole thing.
And that's the
Mhm.
name of it.
That's the name of the show,
That's the
Mama
name.
Bear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mama Bear. Exactly.
Ask your mother.
And then every week she ends up eating her family, and then the next week it's always a new family.
Not again.
Wah, wah.
In like the most like I mean in like a deeply violent way, right? Like the show always ends with like just an
Yes.
actual bear attack happening
Yes.
in a house.
You spend the first 20 minutes of the show working on some teenage problem or whatever, and then the last 3 minutes are a horrible bear attack.
Just like POV shaky camera footage of a bear attack.
My God.
I
Now
thought
I'm
of
just
like
picturing.
the kid like learns the wrong lesson and like gets overly persistent with his girlfriend and starts stalking her. Like that would be a way to, if you really want to get terrible about it. Not as bad as being mauled by a bear, but not great.
Mhm. Well, it could be fun to show contrast between the advice dad is giving and then the way that the son is taking it. But the dad's only seeing what his son tells him. So he
Mhm.
thinks everything's fine. It's like, well, just keep trying, just give her a
Yeah.
chance and like wait, be patient. But
Yeah, he doesn't see how creepy the kid is being.
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
waiting and being patient, like outside her window.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because this girl actually doesn't have anything to do with him, and
Right.
he thinks that she's his girlfriend.
That could be a really fun twist.
And
Or
then
how
another
creepy the
twist.
girl is. Like, oh
Yeah.
no.
I think the girl is
It's like
stalking
Wednesday
the dad.
Addams.
Ooh,
Ooh.
And she's a bear.
that's a fun take.
My original thought was, what if she didn't exist at all? This was his imaginary girlfriend.
Maybe the girl looks just like Kathy.
Oh God. Yes.
So many ways to turn it dark. I like that we're all turning it to like really dark stuff,
Right.
just
The worst possible
stalking
thing.
and mauling.
I mean, I guess the other really like the other convention would be like it turns into like a real like deeply psychological like like very 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 slice of life. I don't know, like you know trying to get to like the deep heart of this person's feelings and emotions, and I don't know, I can't think of something off the top of my head right now that's really getting there for me, but you could always go with that. Like he goes up to his room and like he's writing in his journal. It's this beautiful florid language, and he's just this like great poet. And no one understands me, and my family's just a bunch of sitcom people, and my mom's a bear. But whatever, I mean, but nonetheless, here I in my sufferings, I continue to thrive, kind of stuff. That would be fun.
Mhm.
Maybe the girlfriend has some real deep rooted issues that she's been trying to deal with, maybe with abandonment or relationships. And the boy, because he perseveres, he helps her work her way through some of those.
Yeah.
That could be a fun place to take it. Any other
And then
thoughts
gets
or
eaten by a
ideas?
bear.
Yes,
And she gets
that's the
eaten by a
ending
bear too.
regardless.
Yeah, her mother is a moose.
Suddenly they have so much to relate over.
everyone's mom, every woman, every full-grown woman in the town turns into a wild animal of some kind. Is that the meta
And then we
narrative of
follow
the
the
whole thing?
daughter's journey as she realizes that's
Yeah,
going to
as
happen
she
to her.
turns into figure out what kind of a wild animal she's going to
Yep.
become, and then
You're
like
going through special changes in your life, honey.
exactly.
And the title of the series is Where's Mom? And it's
Oh
WERE.
no, no.
Like there's boys, there's men, there's girls, and there's wildlife.
Yep.
Well, like the men, like all the boys and men are always talking in this very stereotypical, like, like exactly this way. And all the women are having like these deeply like naturalistic, like incredibly like violent, bestial, kind of like savage, very raw, very real, like experiences of the world. And the men are all just like, I don't know, son. Women are kind of strange that way.
Women are very fascinating creatures. Just
Run for your life.
If you can get past their carnivorous nature, you should be
Exactly.
okay.
You'll be fine.
keep them well fed, and then they won't bare feet on you.
Exactly.
I
Don't
can't
ask
wait
when
to
dinner's
do
coming.
focus testing on this show.
This almost has legs.
Maybe too many.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts on Barry's piece?
Barry.
Eh, excellent. Who would like to go next?
Well, I just wrote an outline, so I'll just tell you the story.
That's great. Let's do it.
Okay, Johnny comes back from the war in Iran. He's been wounded, but not seriously. He's left behind his girlfriend, Sarah, who is a secretary at an insurance company. They're both saving money to get married and buy a house. Johnny's best buddy was seriously wounded. He's in a hospital in Germany. And he asked Johnny, his name is Fred, he asked Johnny to see after Lucy, his girlfriend, because he can't be there. And so after several months, Johnny and Lucy fall in love. And Fred gets well and is on his way home. And Lucy and Johnny are trying to figure out how to tell Fred what's happened.
Ooh.
Sarah's already figured it out, and she's going to meet Fred at the airplane.
Uh-oh.
My brain just goes to, like, obviously this is going to be a bad time for Fred, but what if he just discovered that he's gay and is having the time of his life and was ready to break the news and was feeling terrible about it, and now suddenly they all have a happy ending?
I like it.
Nice.
Lots of things happen in the hospital, so
Especially overseas.
What if
Just
the girlfriend's
surrounded by a bunch of men, if you're going to discover it anywhere.
the army in a hospital.
Hmm.
There's already like the idea that's rude a lot of times, maybe not all the time, to like have a breakup or deliver bad news through text message. What if they go to visit to deliver the news and then in their face text it to them?
Like while they're standing there?
Yes.
Oh my God.
One moment, please.
I can't find the words, so I'm just gonna.
I'm going to play this song.
They're like actually just talking about something else because they can't bring themselves to talk about it, and all of a sudden you just hear like boop. You're like, what? We just
love
just
that.
check it. No, it's fine. It's fine. Just check it.
I love that. I love that so much. I really want to see that on a stage now.
Just feels ruder.
Hmm. Ooh, or what if they go to meet Fred to tell him the news, and it's not Fred?
Oh, it's a bear.
Even better.
Crossover
Everybody's treating it
possibilities.
like it's Fred.
Crossover episode. Yeah, right, Barry. Exactly.
That's great. Other thoughts?
So I was actually, I mean, on a slightly serious note, it was interesting to me. Like I was thinking about how easy it is to write tropes for comedy, right? Which sort of, I mean, like there's stock comedic tropes that have gone back for thousands of years, maybe hundreds and hundreds of years at least. But like her talking about it, this kind of, the soldier who comes home to a world that is not the world that he left, the life he has to sort of figure out a way to pick that back up again. Like, I was trying to sort of catch the moment that I figured out what the trope was. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's just an interesting sort of feeling to go like, and because I recognize that's something that like you just kind of do like naturally.
Mhm.
You're like, okay, well now I know like the path that I expect this to be on, and like how long do we like how much of that is like good storytelling to go like, okay, here are the expectations that like you can, or the journey you can kind of see from afar, and it's about the details in between here and there, and how much of it is just like, um are you just sort of like leaning on a crutch? And you guys may have already talked about this, but I mean, like, it's just an interesting. I know I feel that way a lot when I'm watching a show or a movie or a book. You're like, okay, what are we doing here? Okay, I've kind of got a sense of where the story's going to lead, and that's good because you're like, okay, I can kind of, I can kind of prep myself for the journey. But like, how long before you're like, okay, well now I've already been here before, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And we did
that's
kind of
all I
touch
have.
on it, but I like where you're going with it. And I think that's important to talk about is one of the things we did talk about was, when we're in high school or whatever in our, English classes, they're like, oh, don't use stereotypes, don't use this. But they can be used once you understand why they exist.
Right.
Some stereotypes are negative, some are positive, some are just tropes. They're just recurring themes and patterns because we're humans and they're not inherently good or bad. You could write an excellent story that uses none of them. You could write a terrible story that uses none of them, and vice versa.
And
Um,
I think that some stereotypes are created to reflect negatively on other
mhm,
people.
exactly.
But some are some come about because there is a commonality in particular groups of people on how they act, how they think, how they talk, that kind of thing. And I mean, Southerners have Southern accents for the most part. That's a
Mhm.
stereotype, but we kind of do for the most part, unless you're a classically trained actor like I am. You, um, but I don't think you have to be afraid to be open to dealing with a stereotype if there's some kind of story that can be mined from it. M-I-N-E-D, mined from it. If there's something that um, the reason for that stereotype to exist, how does that person deal with that? Well, do they notice it? Do they realize it in themselves? Do they deal with it in a different way? How do people, if they move into a different area, how do other people react to them? Those sort of things. I think there's tons of story ideas um, where you don't have to run away from stereotypes as long as they're not negative or at least not something that's hurtful.
Yeah. And I 100% agree. And I think JP's was a really good example. Like, you have the character that speaks very Irishly. How does that impact his story as his character? How much does he realize that he is, adhering to a stereotype, or at least that people perceive him as such? And how does that impact him? Is he tired of it? Is he tired of people thinking that, he's this or that just because he is Irish? And then it adds depth to that character. You don't have to shy away from those things. A lot of stereotypes come from commonalities, but a lot of them come from negative associations too. And I think exactly what you're saying, Barry. I think a lot of it comes down to understanding the stereotype and the origination of it. There are a lot of racist stereotypes that are largely untrue or were spread in a way that was meant to sow disdain or negative impressions of people. There are a lot of stereotypes that are false positive in a way. So, like model minorities and such, understanding why those stereotypes exist, Asians being good at math is on the surface a positive stereotype, but it's really not because it sets an expectation for someone just based on their racial makeup and not who they are as a person. So understanding the nuance of that, you know, obviously we all want to be careful not to write somebody else's story without having the lived experience, but as writers, we can still include characters from different backgrounds. It's just a matter of educating ourselves and being willing to show it to someone who is from that background, a sensitivity reader or something, if you're ever worried about it. It's just saying, hey, I wrote this thing. I know it's not my lived experience, and I know you have more in that. Would you be willing to tell me if I messed up somewhere or if this comes across harmful? Um, you know, our audiences are all coming from very different places. We're not going to please everybody. We are never going to please everybody, and that's not our job. Our job is never to please everybody. Our job is to tell the story and ideally get across what we're trying to say through that story. That story is going to have a very diverse group of people in it generally. Sometimes it might even be just one person in the story, but it's going to represent something different for each person that views it. But stereotypes can be a really useful tool, either to understand and avoid, or to understand and use intentionally and play with those expectations that come along with it. And that's what it's all about in terms of what I wanted to bring to this today. So thank you all for contributing so much to it. Like, this is why I like having workshops that are more of a dialogue, because it's not about just one person telling people things. We're all coming from different perspectives and different backgrounds and bringing something new to the table. And workshops like this, I love because it gives us a chance to all interact with each other's ideas and get a different voice on what we're doing. Not trying to bring us to an ending yet. It just seemed like a good time to bring that up with what we were discussing because we were getting kind of deep on it. Because I know not everybody's gotten to share yet. So with that, I would like to transition to our next, whoever would like to share. I think Harrison and Sheridan are the only two left. Is that right? Or am I misremembering?
I can read. Or Sheridan, I see you unmuted. Go ahead.
I also just did an outline.
That's fine.
So yeah, okay. I went for family vacation that no one wants to go on. Intergenerational grandparents, aunts, uncles, parents, cousins, the matriarch grandma who insists that everyone goes on this trip every year. Could be at a beach or a lake house, full of bad attitudes and misunderstandings. The cousins smoking pot together, uncles getting drunk on the fishing trip. Maybe one of the couples is on the verge of a divorce. Grandma wants a set dinner time for everyone to sit down and have a meal together every night, but no one wants to eat dinner at 4:30 p.m. Yeah, that's as far as I got.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to share what their expectations are based off that?
What is it? The National Lampoon kind of just
Vacation.
debacle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they all have that one moment at the very end where they all do realize that Christmas is great or that family is good. And
Right.
Maybe we're
but it's
more
still,
alike than we thought.
yeah, exactly. It's still not perfect, but we do love each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly where my brain went, was kind of everybody coming together, embracing that final family meal at the end of the vacation where they're all feeling better and laughing together, and then a slow fade out, zoom out.
Right before they get eaten by bears.
Yes.
How many comes in
Yes.
threes? And there it is. I was waiting for it.
Yep.
I really like this multiverse of bears we're building together.
I think that should be our subtitle for this. A new view, bears.
Three bears. The three bears.
The three
Exit.
bears of playwriting.
Exit eaten by bear.
What was it? Doesn't David Mamet have a book called Three Uses of the Knife? So there could be three uses of the bear. That would be fantastic. Perfect. I mean, you
Done.
could subvert it by having him. You could have by them like there being a terrible car crash on the way to the cabin or whatever, and like all of a sudden it just becomes like a deeply rooted like family traumatic event that everyone's got to sort of pull together for.
My brain went a similar direction, except maybe
Yeah.
they just discover one of them doesn't wake up one morning.
Yeah.
Either that, or I was also thinking like they're just at this family lake house, like all this stuff's going on, and then somebody just unexpectedly discovers a little oil font. and either decides to try and hide it since they're not the owner of the property and they don't like the
Nice.
owner of the property, or
I
they're all just
smell
suddenly at each other's
series.
throat.
It's interesting you mentioned that. Like again, like that's got me thinking now about like how does like how does the relationship of the way you set something up and how long you let that ride before you make the transition, like how does that impact the effect of the transition and like what you're trying to say about both the thing that is the trope and what you're doing to it, right? Because there's sort of a difference between like a twist ending, like an M. Night Shyamalan, like it was aliens in my dreams or whatever it is, right? Like between that and like taking a trope and then in the middle of it letting us realize that like that's not the kind of story we're following here. And like what does that, so I mean you're commenting kind of, it's becomes in a way a meta narrative, right? Like you're saying something about that genre or about that style of that or that narrative in its own way. When you take it off the rails and how you take it off the rails becomes a commentary on the rails, right? Like where that road leads, where your audience's expectations are. Um, and again, you guys might have already talked about that. So if you have, just go on.
All good. No, I love that. And actually, that reminded me of another. I'm making a list of media that I recommend based on the topics that we're covering here, and I keep adding to it because y'all keep reminding me of other ones that do this really brilliantly. Um, another thought I had that kind of goes on that was like the normalcy of the family stuff becomes almost unbearable, and then suddenly there's a murder and they're all being hunted, and it's a horror movie now or a horror show.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen the movie Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Oh my goodness. Um, it's another one I don't want to spoil for you, but it's also got a lot of really good, like, it's a great subversion. It feels like a horror movie at first, but then the ending just turns everything on its head. If you don't mind, I might spoil this one for you just because I've been keeping a lot. So it reminds me of this, but it's friends at a rather large house for their very well-off friend. They're having a hurricane party. Um, so they're going to ride out the hurricane at this big mansion, and then, they're drinking and playing games, and there's a bit of jealousy going on between some of the couples, and one of them's on the verge of a breakup, and they're always on the verge of a breakup. And then suddenly the power goes out, and they discover one of their friends dead and throat cut, like pretty
Yeah.
violently. And so then they all start suspecting each other and like turning on each other. And then more of them keep ending up dead, but it seems like it's going along this like horror movie route. But then you find out that the original guy was trying to copy one of the guys by opening a champagne bottle with a sword and accidentally got himself. And all of the other deaths were just because of everybody's suspicions and accidents. And then the next morning, somebody shows up and there's only two survivors, and they find the video of him trying to open the bottle and realize exactly what happened, that nobody was ever in any danger. And now all of
Nice.
their friends are dead.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Oh
It's
my God.
brilliantly done. Highly recommend. Still worth a watch, even if you know the ending.
Nice.
But it's one of those. It's everything seems you're getting in the character's head and you're in the moment, and then you can shift it on a dime. But I'm getting off topic. I don't want to take away from Sheridan's idea and thoughts on that. But my thoughts did go to changing it to a horror because I've seen plenty of horror where like it starts out with friends at a cabin on the lake, but I've never heard of a family reunion on the lake turning into a horror scene, and I think that'd be fun. I'm sure it exists, but
Well,
Well,
you've
if
got like,
somebody, go ahead,
oh,
Bear.
I was going to say you got like, what is the name of the John Krasinski family against the aliens where you have to be
oh, A
quiet?
Quiet Place.
The Quiet Place. So
That's
that's like a
excellent.
family trying
Hmm.
to survive, a
Hmm.
horror type of situation.
Yeah. Or well, I guess Us kind of did this too, where it was a
That
family
was
on
another one.
vacation and then it turned into a horror thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's exactly
Sorry,
it.
Jeanette.
I was just going to suggest that if somebody drowned, then you could have a funeral, which is another cliche setting,
Mhm.
family
Mm.
trauma thing.
You could
That'd
do
be
something
interesting.
where like that makes me think, Jeanette, about like the like it just jumps from stereotype to stereotype to
Yeah.
stereotype to stereotype. Like we it never ends. Like it just all the way through the entire movie. There's nothing about it that actually has any kind of like the only thing we know is that we move from scene to scene to scene in which certain members of this family are involved in different stereotypes for no discernible reason whatsoever, and then the play just ends. Like it's just over for no reason, and we're done. And you've just seen a series of stereotypes that lead to nothing.
I think it would be
There's a
interesting
wedding.
if you did that, but each of the stereotypes shift with the POV. So
There
you're
you
seeing
go.
it from
Yeah,
one
perfect. Yeah,
person's
yeah,
POV, and that's a certain type of genre, and then you switch to the other person, and suddenly it's a tragedy. The other
yeah.
person's seeing it as this hilarious party weekend. Who knows? That could actually be a really interesting show.
Yeah.
Any other
I'm trying to
thoughts?
think. There's a YouTube video that was done years ago.
Mm,
I think it was called Too Many Cooks. Harrison, does that ring a
Many
bell to
Cooks
you?
is a
mm,
great video.
You
It's
know what I'm
weird.
talking
sounds
about?
familiar.
Yeah, you might that this is like it may not be that exactly, but it is everything we're talking about, like this idea of like all the different stereotypes and things like that. It's like a 10-minute long what appears to be the opening of every like television show filmed in the 80s and 90s that ever was, but also very weird and creepy in certain places. Like
Mm,
if you look that one up when you get a chance, Too Many Cooks is a good. I think it's called Too
okay.
Many Cooks. I think that's right.
Too many cooks, too many
Too many
cooks,
cooks. Yeah, exactly.
too many
That. Yeah.
cooks, too many cooks.
Is
Yeah.
that
So
like
like,
the like in a never-ending title sequence and it has like a
yes, yes,
hundred? Yeah, I've
yes.
seen that.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy and really interesting and a good
Mm,
piece of frankly of art at this point. But
hmm.
yeah,
Excellent. I love it. All right. Harrison, did you share yours yet?
Oh, hey, it's my turn. So, all right. We're
I'm
kind
not
of
letting you get away with this.
no. It's all good. I don't know how cliche it is, but I imagine a lot of people go through. I was trying to start a scene with two people in jail trying to get to know each other.
Mm,
That's gotta happen somewhere. So, like, here's what I got: two people are stuck in jail. That's the stage directions, and then first character, second character. What you in for? I didn't do it. Man, none of us ever did anything. What'd they arrest you for? Stole from Home Depot. Armed robbery? Yeah, but only because I forgot to leave my gun at home. Get out of here with that. Nobody's ever going to buy that. What about you? Tricked a woman into believing there's Jewish space lasers. Then she got elected and came after me with people after people made fun of her for it. Like, what charge though? Got me on my fourth count of drinking and driving. Goddamn setup. My cousin died from a drunk driver. Yeah, well, I've been sober ever since. Okay. Relax, we're stuck here anyway. I didn't kill nobody, unless somebody around here asks. What's your name? Big and saucy. I'm not calling you that. What you want me to say, Earl? That name's for the outside. Here, I'm big and saucy. Okay, Earl. Well, what's your name anyway, big shot? Jimmy? Ronnie? Garfunkel? Simon. Ooh, look out, everybody. New Fish Simon's hit the bricks with the rest of us. Whatever. I almost guessed it too with that Garfunkel, huh? Uh-huh. Listen, you're going to need a good name for yourself until you get a better name for yourself. Can't let everybody else here know you're weak and unprepared, you know? I don't think so. No, let me do you the favor. You look like hell, you look like a bald phenom to me. I feel like you're just making fun of me. The hell I ain't. Do I look like a big and saucy to you? It's all about how you wear it, and you ain't got no hair. I know. You got fewer hairs than Elmer Fudd in Wabbit season. Uh-huh. Looking like a frozen cue ball up top. Bald phenom. That's enough. You got a weird head in your fucking bald dude. That's enough! Bald Phenom throws a punch. It bounces off of Big and Saucy. Ouch! Ooh. Yeah, take that. And that's where I'm at.
Excellent.
I
Man, I'm
stepped
trying
my
to
work
even see
really.
where I expect that going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically Oz, right? Like you're basically like doing you're doing Oz, like maybe a slightly more musical version of Oz.
I think the camera pulls back if this is a movie and the characters suddenly become animated and you realize this is a very adult Looney Tunes cartoon.
Mm, hmm
And one of
hmm
the prisoners starts digging in the ground and is trying to get away and makes a wrong turn at Albuquerque, and the other tracks him throughout the entire countryside. And it's all very gritty animation, but after the initial introduction, it's all just dropping anvils and that kind of thing. Acme fire powered rocket shoes.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're writing. You could. I mean, you're going back to the locked room thing, right? Like that's the trope, right? What if like they keep people keep like they're like we're never getting out of here, and like there are clearly many opportunities for them to leave, and they're just enjoying the conversation so much that they just never leave. Like they just really get to know and enjoy each other's company, and like are constantly just hanging out together, and it becomes like a buddy comedy really quickly.
Like a guard drops the keys that lands in the cell and they both look at each other. I do
No.
feel like a bald phenom. It's like
It's like a full-on prison riot going on around them the entire time, just sort of but uncommented on the entire time.
like
Like
the
people
sirens
getting
and everything.
shanked and stabbed, and like people running down the hallway and bang, 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 bang. And they're just having this whole like semi-hard prison talk conversation the entire time about like what their names are going to be.
That'd be fun. So yeah, I don't really know what genre this is. I felt like it was serious in jail for like 3 lines, and then it went into comedy, and then I don't really know where it's gonna go besides them bantering some more.
I mean, you are still setting up the like the traditional like your new fish thing, right? Which is like the like what all the you're new around here. Let me show you the ropes setup, which is just kind of like a chance to get into the world and learn the world and all that, kind of, how are we going to get these people to understand the world that we're living in? Let me show you around here, kid. All that kind of stuff, um, which might not be just prison specific, but we use it all
Mentorship
the
type
time.
role. Yeah.
Yeah, I sure don't know what I'm doing around here. Could someone show me around? Yeah. Um,
Maybe both of them are plants in the prison system by two government agencies that don't realize they're both working against each other.
They're both trying to get information out of each other that they actually
Exactly.
don't have because they're plants.
Exactly.
I
So they are
love
the
that.
roughest, meanest looking prisoners, and then they continue to form this kind of bond while completely lying about their circumstances.
yeah, that notion right there, Barry, is very good. Like two people trying to get info out of each other, and they're for the
Love that.
entire show, they're just constantly trying to milk each other for info, and they don't get anything out of either of them, or all the information they get is bad, which causes other
It's
problems that are
just just wild stories that each of them tell about their exploits and
right.
their the crime the various crime sprees that they've been on, from Home Depot to Lowe's to that kind of thing. And it just gets bigger and bigger as they try to one up each other and get the upper hand, and it just keeps going.
At what point would the audience figure this out?
I would think they either find out at the end or the beginning is what I would kind of think out of that. Like if they know at the end, it's a twist. If they know at the beginning, it's foundational.
I think it goes for a solid hour and 15, 20 minutes of what looks like more or less pretty solid. And at the end of it, it turns out to just be a commercial for Home Depot. Like
Oh my gosh.
with no other mention of Home Depot at all, other than in the first minute and a half of the play. But it was sponsored by Home Depot for some reason, and that's it. And maybe they're in the program a little bit, but that's it. Just an ad for Home Depot.
They're
Like
advertising
their pro program. That's it.
they're advertising their safes and how
Exactly.
invulnerable they are to being cracked.
Precisely. That's
My
all.
gosh. Have you all seen
commercials?
We're off the edge.
That reminds me of an SNL sketch that was also a Totino's commercial, like play on a commercial. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Okay, it's pretty short. So with y'all's permission, I'm gonna find it and we're gonna watch it together because I think it's a great example because it's short. Hold on, let me find it first. Okay, yeah, it's 3.5 minutes.
I've always wanted to be somebody's Totino.
It's lovely. It's a lovely sentiment.
I'm hungry now for some reason.
Right?
I was
But what are
thinking
you
something
hungry
else,
for?
but yes, that too. Hungry too.
Yep. So that is one of my favorite examples
It's very
of
good.
taking the expectations and just completely it's classic SNL, and it's a good trick for humor and horror alike. You know, building tension is something that those two genres have a lot in common that I love, and why I think horror and comedy go so well together too, is because it's all about building and releasing tension. But if you release the tension in a way that they're not expecting, it's just doubly fun. So, any thoughts anyone wants to share on that? Other than wanting pizza rolls.
Always
Yeah,
want
that sounds
pizza
really
rolls.
good.
But besides that, it's interesting to see the time bought to make the setup happen. It's interesting to see the suddenness of the change, new woman, right, in this situation, right? And then all the build up they do once this new thread's in there to braid it all together. Um, that takes a certain level of confidence in your writing to attempt and do that I like.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they take a second trope, the wild lesbian love affair with the homebody lesbian thing, and then they call back to their original trope and then infuse the original trope into it with by bringing Totino's pizza rolls into the lesbian love affair, right? Like, I mean, it just becomes a whole, that's just that's when you say it like that, it sounds like a crazy person talking, but that's what's going on, and that's pretty. That's like what we were saying earlier about the idea of commenting on the previous trope that you're talking about. That's an excellent example of that. That's very cool.
Yeah, it shows that they understand the tropes of the oblivious husband and the homemaker wife. It's they understand the tropes so well, and that's why they're able to use it so effectively.
Yeah.
And that they have to speak French.
Yes,
Yeah,
the random French thrown in.
Right.
Oh my goodness. And I love what's your name? I've never
had one.
The French was a good elevation of many good elevations. At first, whenever I saw the drawing, I was like, okay, I like where this is going. This is at a good peak, but then it just kept on, and that's fun too. That's fun too.
Yeah. SNL is very good at that. I can only imagine pitching this one in the writer's room, though. Like you're saying, just trying to describe it feels like a fever dream. And I guess it kind of is.
Okay, hear me out. Junk food and making out.
Judging from some of the things that SNL produces, this is probably one of their more tame pitches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how the pitch started.
Yeah. The one they rejected.
Yes.
It's Super Bowl time. We need a
Excellent.
football thing.
Well, we are coming up on time. Does anybody have any last thoughts they want to share, ideas, or just feedback, anything on each other's stuff, on the ideas in general? Whatever. Open space.
I've really enjoyed this. It churned some stuff up for me.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you for
Me too,
doing
honestly. I kind of want to turn one of my little ones into something now.
that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I'm really glad for you to have done this again. This touches on, I feel like some stuff that I've always been interested in the past and sometimes could name and sometimes couldn't about like what is the audience expectation at any given moment. And oftentimes I think of it like from a video game perspective. Like if they could control the players, where do they make the decisions at the height of their intelligence and things like that. But then also, yes, you can start to imagine what the audience is thinking, but then do you allow them to continue feeling smart about that, or do you find another angle from there? And if you find another angle, they still need to see reason and logic of some sort, even if not immediately, but like what comes of it, like what is the follow through on it. But yeah, it was really fascinating to dive deeper into this with you, and I appreciate you coming to teach this workshop today.
Yeah, I second that. I think it's been really good to just kind of stop and think about not just like tropes and stereotypes and things like that, but just what are when we create expectations for our audiences, when are we serving the audience best by helping them say this is the end goal and we're all going to get there together, and when are we best served by saying that what your expectation is not going to be met, not going to be served because I have something else I need to say, either that has to do with that stereotype or something else entirely. And I think that's a really interesting, just general question to sort of wrestle with as a writer.
And I think it opens up a lot of new possibilities for plays and things to write. When you don't maybe as a default try to shy away from some of these things because they've been done before, and to always um, look at some of these tropes and find new ways to address them. They were popular for a reason, so you don't have to necessarily lean right into what they expect you to do, and because you can we can always find some bears. So
Always
Always
find
more
some.
bears to be had.
yeah.
I love it. Bringing it all home. Thank you, Barry. Um, Thank you all for bringing your creativity to this, for being willing to put something out there that you wrote just 2 minutes ago. That is not an easy thing to do, and I appreciate the willingness to just dive in and try things. Um, yeah, this has been a blast. I appreciate
Absolutely.
all of you.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Had a great
this was
time.
Right.
a
And
lot of
thank
fun
you,
for me too, so
Harrison.
thank you.
Thank you, Harrison, for setting
Yes,
this
thank
up.
you, Harrison, for organizing
Yes.
and being an active part of this too.
So glad to be a part of it. Thank you, Carlin, for continuing to trust in me over the years, and always happy to get to work with you in whatever ways we can. We don't always know when we get to, but boy, is it nice when we do. And I'm glad to have you here for this, and keep me posted on your journeys. We'll all be interested.
Excellent. Well, with that, we have 2 minutes until our end time. Thank you, everyone. Harrison, if you don't mind sending out the recommendations via email to everybody when you send out the recording as well. Um, and you can send out the link for anybody that's going to be viewing and wants to check out the last thing that we talk about.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all of you and thank
Great.
you. Have a lovely night.
All
Nice
right.
to meet you.
Thank
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 you.
you. You too.